You know, folks, when it comes to um, Yu-Gi-Oh card collecting, any kind of card collecting, whether it's Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, League of Legends, whatever you want to call it, heck, even My Little Pony Friendship and Magic, there's always going to be several cards that individually, when they're put on the marketplace or sold individually at trading card shops, can be very expensive. Sometimes you wonder why they're so expensive. Well, it's all because of rarity. Now, sometimes the rarity of a card doesn't mean it has to be uberly expensive. Because sometimes you'll end up seeing that card again being advertised or showcased uh, in the show, whether it's anime, Western animation or anime, Japanese anime, if you will, and that it's featured in. But sometimes then you kind of get a card that only gets shown once, maybe twice. And once that card is shown once or twice and you never see it again, you question whether or not they're going to make it into a card. Now, when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh, there's been a lot of cards, Magic, Trap, Monster, that apparently are not official cards yet, or if they are, they're very, very hard to find. Um, for example, in Bonds Beyond Time, one of the cards I saw that I was interested in, but it doesn't seem like it's been made, is Bond between teacher and student, which is basically a magic card that allows you to summon Dark Magician after you've summoned Dark Magician Girl. Now, a lot of people will say, hey, you could use Sage's Stone. That's just as easy. That's true, but when you see something like that, you think, there's another way of doing it. There's another way of doing it. So, you look at those kind of cards and you're like, man, I wish they had those kind of cards. I want to see those kind of cards become reality. However, sometimes you get a card that will be similar to it in some ways. Like I looked on Amazon, and apparently there's a card, although it's currently unavailable. It's called Dark Burning Magic, which is basically a magic card that allows you to use both Dark Magician Girl and Dark Magician. With that said, like I said, there are some cards that are so rare that they ask for some outrageous prices. And unless you have the money, you can pretty much forget ever having that card. So imagine my surprise lately, thanks to my nephew who is now in the Navy at Great Lakes in Chicago. I've always been, as I've told you many times, I've been a Yu-Gi-Oh fan. And recently I've been trying to kind of recollect some new cards, or collect some cards, basically increase my collection. So imagine my surprise when I'm looking through Amazon, which I've been doing lately, and this suddenly turns up, Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight. And when I look at the price for it, I'm like, holy crap. They're asking basically about $26, or depending on who you get it from, 26 or $30 for it. Now, it's an unlimited edition, apparently, and it's from the structure deck Dragon of Legend. Well, it's from one of the structure deck or packs called Dragon of Legend. And it's one of those unlimited editions, which is kind of weird. If it's unlimited, it shouldn't be rare, right? But it's an unlimited edition, but it's a secret rare card. And the only reason I think it's unlimited, from a sense, is because of the fact that there are some out there. I mean, when I look at Amazon Marketplace, I see maybe one, two, three, four different cards, not cards, but dealers with the same card, different prices, ranging from 26 to about 30, if not more so. And the reason it's so expensive is because, as I mentioned at the beginning, it was only shown once or twice during the Waking the Dragons season of the original Yu-Gi-Oh, which was aired on 4Kids and in Japan. It was only aired once. I mean, not one. It was only shown once or twice, which makes it very rare because you never saw it after that. And it also takes a magic card that's based around that called the Eye of Timaeus, or it takes polymerization, taking your Dark Magician Girl and any dragon type monster and fusing them into Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight. Which again, like I said, is which is kind of which is was kind of which was basically kind of new at the time. Because you had never seen Dark Magician Girl, except for maybe her teacher, Dark Magician, polymerize, merge, or fuse with any other monster until now. I mean, you saw Dark Magician and Buster Blader do it, I think, with Blue Eyes White Dragon, but you've never, or Ultimate Blue Eyes White Dragon, but you've never seen Dark Magician Girl ever do a fusion until this time. Which again makes it, I guess, even though it's an unlimited edition, makes it a very rare card to try to find in every pack you would get. Because of the reason that it's the only polymerization card or fusion card that has Dark Magician Girl involved. And let's not forget, when Dark Magician Girl first came on the scene, either in Japan or here in the US, for some odd reason, she hit a chord with a lot of people because she became one of the more popular cards, if not one of the more popular characters that the Yu-Gi-Oh anime ever had. And the reason for that was because of the fact that she was a very, well, one, she was a female version of Dark Magician. And it seems they gave her more personality than they did Dark Magician. And you could see that. You could see she had more personality. She had more of a focus. Waking the Dragons was a good example of that. And then you see how her origin came about in the final season, and it's like, there you go. So, and then her appearance during the dual championship in the KC Grand Championship, it's like, what more can you ask for? And then you have her be a freaking duelist herself in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. So, and oh, by the way, she's the first of the Dark Magicians to make an appearance in the Pyramid of Light movie. So, like I said, when she first came about, it was like, she became an instant hit with fans, which basically makes a card like this very rare because, well, not very well, secret rare card because it's basically something that you don't normally see with her. And the fact that primarily it takes a magic card called the Eye of Timaeus to summon her, or it takes any kind of other dragon monster like card to do it. And to me, it's these kind of cards that if you have the money, yes, you should grab and obtain, or else you're never going to get it. You know, it's kind of like with the TurboGrafx 16. I was watching Pat the NES's Pat the NES Punk's Christmas special from about 4 3 years ago, and he was talking about the TurboGrafx and everything, and one of the things he talked about was Magical Chase, which basically he went on to say is one of the rarest of the TurboGrafx games. Is basically the how do I put this? Like I say, one of the rarest TurboGrafx games out there, and uh, basically the holy grail, basically the treasure of treasures you want in your TurboGrafx collection. He also mentions that it's expensive, so I'm thinking, oh, okay, it's probably 60, 70 bucks, 80 bucks, maybe 100 at most, right? I go online and it's freaking priced around $3,000 because it's one of the rarest and one of the last games on the TurboGrafx 16. So using that sort of as a comparison, that's what these cards of Yu-Gi-Oh, maybe Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, and maybe even down the line MLPFIM, that's how some of these cards are. They're so rare because they're only used once or twice um, in the show, because that's how they get advertised. It's kind of like with Transformers. When a new Transformer shows up, they're just um, whether they're just there for a moment or so, they're getting advertised so that you can go out and buy that toy. Here, something like Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight, is in that same vein. When she made an appearance, when this fusion made an appearance in Waking the Dragons, and you didn't see it after that, this was primarily what made that is what primarily made the card very rare. It really did. It primarily made that card very rare. It's the same with Dark Paladin. Well, he's not as expensive. In fact, he's less expensive than this, very less expensive, but he's still at a decent price. That's what makes the Dark Paladin fusion the same way. It's what makes Exodia so expensive to try to find all the pieces for. You see, it's these kind of cards that will make an appearance once or twice uh, in a series, like say Yu-Gi-Oh, that makes them very rare. And even though, for some odd reason, Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight, is part of an unlimited edition, it's that kind of unlimited edition that you can find it, but it's going to take you pack after pack just to try to get. So that is why when you look up and try to find cards, or you go to your local card shop like the Brothers Grimm in New York, and what was it, the Brothers Grimm CCG in Calverton, New York, or T or TCS cards in Bellflower, California. It's what makes these cards. It basically is what makes these so expensive, because you look around, you try to find them, and like, oh, there's the card I need, and then you see the price, and you're like, holy smokes, because it doesn't get used that much. It's one of those cards you're like, wow, I want it, but it's too expensive. It's like with the Egyptian God cards. When they came out, everybody wanted them, and when they appeared in the show, you knew eventually they were going to become cards, and you wanted them. You wanted those cards, and eventually you got those cards. But when they first came out, they were basically very rare to get and expensive. But as time went on, of course, the price has gone down because, well, they're now always in some kind of starter pack or legendary collections pack, whatever. But those cards were always expensive. I should know, one of the cards I first got was the Ring Dragon of Ra, and when people look at it, they're like, that's not really the official card. Well, we don't know that yet. So I ended up getting the Ring Dragon of Ra. Whether it was an unofficial card or an official card, I don't know. But I ended up getting it. And I got it for, I think, a little more than this. But it shows you the rarity of cards. It really does. And even though that got used most of the time, it still shows you the rarity because at the time it was a new card, fairly new. This, I don't know how new it is. I think it's like a couple of years old maybe. But it's a very rare card because you don't see, you didn't see this card be used that much in the show after Waking the Dragons. That was the only time you saw it, those one or two times. That was it. You didn't see it after that. So to to me, this is what makes cards like this very, very rare and at times very expensive. Even if it's in a limited edition, or first edition. You know, in a limited edition, if you want to know, is just basically, hey, if we need to put more out there, we'll put more out there. We've got plenty. But because it's such, like I say, a secretly rare card, as some people put it, they don't do it as much because they know that if they put it, okay, it's kind of like if they put it out there all the time. It's like if every starter pack you get or every pack you get has a Dark Magician Gold Dragon Knight, it's not going to be rare. It's going to be a common card. It's going to be something that you always find in the pack. This is what makes it rare because it's kind of like that. It's kind of like the